It's another edition of Checking In with Hein and Johnny, where the hosts bring in mystery topics that neither host knows anything about until the mics go hot and on the air. We are the show that keeps the host from talking about the weather and World War II 24 hours a day. Hey, Heine, man, what's on your mind?
What's happening, Johnny? Ho, ho.
You little Merry Christmas elf, you.
Ho, ho, ho. You know, baby, it's cold outside.
No, what other podcasters would get up after putting together the grandkids' toys last night and do a pod for the people, the demands? We've all got a day off today.
Well, we do what we can. We
Spread some joy. Spread some joy around the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so anything under the tree for you, big boy, or have you peeped yet?
One of my favorite memories for Christmas was in reference to peeking. Oh, did you just break one of your cherished Christmas presents? Check and see. Maybe Stella got it in the head. It sounded bad.
There's always plenty of clutter here at Draperwood.
Duke didn't lose an ear or anything by the falling cutlery, did he?
No.
Good.
All is calm. All is mild.
All is bright.
All is bright. I know the words there.
One of my favorite memories was not being able to wait for Christmas. So I would open up presents, and one present in particular, I just knew, I sensed, because I couldn't read at the time, that it would be mine. So I opened it up, and it was my older sister Anne's bathing suit. Didn't need it, so I shoved it down the heat vent and promptly told no one. Covered the heat vent, and 6 years later, my dad's cleaning out the heat vent and goes, Who and what is this, and why is it in the heat vent? It still had the Christmas wrapping. So I came clean because I was a naughty teenager at the time, and we laughed because, of course, I'd forgotten about it. But, man, did we laugh. I opened every present. Every present. How about you? Did you?
Whether it was yours or not?
Well, because I couldn't read at the time, so, man, I was tearing them open. I was a challenge, as they say, at the holiday season. Did you ever peek, or were you perfectly patient?
Are you kidding? Of course I was peeking.
Yeah.
I'd go peek around Santa's sleigh, which I wouldn't divulge where I was peeking, because if there are youngsters out there, they might follow in my footsteps. So I would just divulge to, go straight for the throat of my brother and sister, who the second meanest thing that they said to me was that they were going to Grinch me for Christmas and take all of my toys and throw them into the Bitterroot River. Because we lived in Montana at the time.
What was the first meanest? Henry,
meanest thing?
You piqued everybody's interest now, because we're dying to find out what the first meanest thing was.
Well, my parents would go out for the evening.
Sure,
and leave me at home with my older brother and sister to babysit me. And they would sit me down and they would say, Henry. And I was probably 5 or 4. 5, probably 5. Henry, Mom and Dad didn't want to tell you this, but we're going to tell you. It's really sad. I don't know how you're going to take it, but you're going to die. And I would believe them.
Oh, that's so sweet. You were such a good boy that you believed their heinous setup.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why this one's the first.
So that would it would go along until I really started to cry, and then we're just kidding.
We're just kidding. But you are going to die. But
Just not
in
this
case you're
weekend.
wondering, you are going to die. Just not today. We don't think. Did I tell you that my older sisters tied me up to the barbecue one time? They were so sick of me lighting fires and blowing off M80s in the backyard. Yeah. Christmas has gotten to be a little somber with the memories, the cruelty of our families. That's what the holidays are for.
Lots of good memories about Christmas.
There are lots of great.
Let's go with the little darker ones are more interesting.
What was your favorite gift you ever got? What was your favorite gift? And by the way, before we get to that, we're teasing that. That's coming up next. Did you think there were kids listening to this podcast ever?
You never know these days.
The numbers are in. We have one Russian. We have one person that's under 17 years old, my grandson, and no one else that age. And that was just a pity listen. That was a pity pod. Just so that Grandpa felt good about himself. He doesn't cry himself to sleep and splash tears on his pillow for Christmas.
You never know, Johnny. You never know when Cindy Lou Who is going to peep round the corner and say, there were these two fat idiots, and they were talking about death and Christmas.
They were old and smelly, and it scared me, Mama.
I threw up all of my roast beef.
So the world must know. Favorite gift you ever got? Favorite Christmas gift?
You go.
All right. Okay, it's a tie. One year, completely surprising us, my dad and mom, must have been a good year at the coal mine, because we both got trains, like real train sets, like serious, electric engines and all that, smoke coming out of it. And that was humongous because we had two sets. So that was a pretty eventful one. And that I never knew about. Tied with the snare drum. I was a big drummer, as you know, in the band. And it all started with my... do you ever see a block of wood with a rubber pad on it? When you first start learning to drum in elementary school, it's just a practice pad. So you hit a practice pad for 2 or 3 years.
They have a name for those devices. It's called a practice pad.
That's why I need you, Heine man. That's why I need you.
Yes.
Well, so you suffer with this dorky thing. I mean, you're like, you're trying to be you're trying to be John Bonham, and you're carrying around a rubber, mallet, and it's just stupid. So finally, the snare drum. So my dad must have gone to like the pawn shop, and they hid it under the bed. So for 3 weeks, I'd get out the butter knives and smack this snare drum, and loving it, dreaming of this sweet, sweet snare drum.
Well, when I used to sit down and begin to write out the the long list of things that I wanted for Christmas. Frequently, I would turn to the back pages of the American Rifleman magazine.
Young
and right
boys.
there behind the new holster for your 357 Magnum was an advertisement from Unique Imports, who was bringing in, painted however you liked, vintage M35 German helmets.
So
And
sweet.
long before Christmas, I would write my letter, scribble it down, and dream of getting this one German helmet. And somehow, my prayers were answered, and it did arrive, but the day after Christmas.
Hold on.
But that was something I was pining for. Well, sometimes Santa's got to do another flyby and just kind of skyhook something down through your chimney and plop, there it is. And, oh, finally.
So
Finally,
the elf,
I'm a winner.
like the sky shot from Elf, throws it into the chimney just a little bit late. So you were thinking, had you known you were going to get it, and then it didn't show up, and you were crushed.
I didn't show. I got a lot of other stuff. I got,
Nice.
like a gas mask and an Italian World War II helmet and probably some model airplanes, but
World
no
War II theme.
M35 with the rolled rim and the Wehrmacht decals.
Sweet.
But finally it arrived. And after that point, you could not remove it with a crowbar from my little pea-brained head.
Of course, every child's dream, a Nazi novelty item. I mean, what universe is that not your favorite gift? I mean, all of us. Yeah, Dave, my older brother, had a German helmet, so yeah, it was.
Some
Definitely,
people like to wear women's clothes. Some people like to wear German clothes.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
Not that there's anything
Some
wrong
folks
with that.
love Nazis. They're fun. I mean, I'm not sure about their policies, but the fashion sense, delicious.
You know, Hugo Boss used to do a lot of that.
Of course, he knew what the people wanted, particularly 5-year-olds.
Sometimes you got to bend with the fashions.
You got to bend to the people. The customer's always right when it comes to taste. I love it. That is a beautiful thing. Well, that's a good gift. It's interesting that it was the helmet that, that tiddled your winky. I like that.
So, what's your favorite holiday film?
Ooh, I forgot the transition.
You might want to do the transition.
For eye candy this week, we shall talk about 2 films that are holiday themed. I do enjoy many of them, but 2 that I for sure have watched so many times, I do have a lot of the lines. It would be Elf by the delightful Will Ferrell and Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase and the incredible Tylenol rant about his completely destroyed Christmas season, and it's quite funny. How about yours? What's your eye candy for the holidays? Any black and white ones?
Of course, my entire world is black and white. One year, another Christmas memory, right before, probably it was Christmas Eve, and we had to go see my grandfather, who ran a bar on 2nd South. And
Nice.
just straight across from the Capitol Theater in Salt Lake City, and he lived above the bar. So you went up this
What a
building
sweet visit.
into the on the fire escape to his apartment that was way up there in this, like, what seemed like pretty ghetto
That's
area.
awesome.
So way up there, and so while they're in there talking, I went into his back room, and on his 8-inch black and white TV, watched the 1951 version of A Christmas Carol, which is it's probably called Scrooge or something like that, with Alastair Sims and his performance.
Mean, really angry one.
Actually, he's quite jolly as Scrooge, but it is kind of the dark, angry, very Victorian version with 1950s style acting, and I've always loved it, and so now it's just what I watch.
Love it.
Before Christmas.
Classic one.
Yeah.
Classic.
You
Four
do that.
Christmases with Vince Vaughn. I love that one too. I do enjoy Jon Favreau, WWE style wrestling in the living room, and it is a hilarious scene when they're putting up the DirecTV dish. Absolutely outrageous. Vince Vaughn is so funny. Oh, and of course, if you love Vince Vaughn like I do, he's so money. He is in Bad Monkey on Apple Plus, and really, really great. If you like Vince Vaughn, he plays the same person in every single show. But if you like him and can't get enough, Bad Monkey is such a great one. It's not holiday themed, but it's still Vince Vaughn at his best.
We all love Average Joe.
Oh, I think Vince Vaughn is one heck of a gifted thespian. He's a lot of fun. Any ear candy? Ooh, let's do another transition. Any Christmas or holiday themed songs that always cheer you up, keep you from the suicidal thoughts?
Well, there is the Jingle, Jingle, Jingle song from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Love that one.
We are Santa's elves. Or was it that one? I don't know. What's the title? Where do we find that? Other than in our closet on the video, in the videotape stacks.
We will hear about it in the comments. People will mock us because we do make many mistakes, and they're happy to let us know.
I mean, it's funny to me that how, there was that film, and when it came out, maybe people hated it, but slowly it gained traction, and they had the wild elf hairdos that were in 1965, and then by about 1983, they were back, and people were wearing them. The flock of seagulls, all that.
As Hugo Boss knows with his Nazi fashion. Oh, and by the way, Hein, we never heard about the Hallmark Christmas program that was filmed, knowing that there was a star in the cast. We never, ever heard about it. So when is Chris going to enthrall us with the story of the Hallmark movie for Christmas?
I don't know when Chris would like to enthrall us with the Hallmark Christmas movie story. Did I say Hallmark Christmas story?
Extra on the Hallmark Christmas movie.
You probably have to wait till next year for that.
One thing
just a little teaser
for podcast number 147 in 2025.
She doesn't want to talk.
No, she shouldn't.
Too quiet.
One thing I will tell you, one thing that women love is going on camera on Christmas morning before they're ready to be seen by their adoring public. My wife loves it. Can't get enough of surprise visits.
And by the way, I see your set is spruced up like a Hallmark. I feel like I'm watching a Hallmark film right now.
I know. I'm about to have hot cocoa, do some baking, and then try and get the family farm saved.
Before the Christmas pageant is produced.
the Christmas pageant, it's so important to the whole town. Maybe you could help me get ready for it. Oh, I don't know. I'm a carpenter and have a lot of duties around the town. Yes.
But as much fun as all the Hallmark Christmas holiday movies are, there's one that is it just takes it over the top. And that is Hallmark's Holiday Yule Log. Have you watched that show?
Tell them all. Oh. Just the crackling fire.
Oh yeah, and there's some kittens there and a little puppy. Oh. And every once in a while they'll send a hog through. Here comes a little feral hog running through the scene. Ho ho ho! He's going over to open up the Christmas chocolates.
Now I've seen the fire one. But, man, I've never seen a hog. So tell me exactly, is it literally the Hallmark Christmas log? Or what?
Yule log, yeah. And it was, I guess they'd play Christmas music, the crackling fire, the kittens, the puppies, occasionally the hog. And people would watch. And so I'm out making jokes about that on my sales calls. And this gal says, oh, yeah, my father-in-law records it.
He videotapes.
You can see the wacky hog scene again and again. And do you know Skyline alumnus Heidi Dahl? You may remember, she's one of Chris's friends. She works for Hallmark. And so she's like,
nice.
Oh, did you guys watch that? Do you enjoy it? And we're like, well, yeah, especially when the hog rolls through.
We loved it.
So there's a little plug, and it's amazing. It's as really high quality as all that programming is. It's stunning how popular it is, to where other channels have to mimic it. It's like they've got to have their bump in jolly, are you doing your holiday baking
100%
films.
Yeah, you don't. There are like 600 holiday themed shows, and then now the other networks realize everybody's watching them all year round. So yeah, absolutely. I need to beat the interns again for Frosty, because we got, speaking of derision and unpleasant comments, our set that was just for Halloween with just the one scary mug got some thumbs down. So we asked the interns to do better. Frosty comes up. I have a very odd dog. His face is, I guess, jovial, but it makes me think of like a drunk dog for Christmas, but as Rudolph. So those are our two holiday.
It's sometimes hard to keep him out of the punch bowl. You put the eggnog out there, poof, the dog's in it.
Dog's in it. So any other things we need to do to bring the Christmas Day experience? Probably everyone's opened their presents. They now need something holiday from the Heine Man. If it's not the Hallmark story until 2025, what can we do? What do we owe these people for Christmas Day?
Just a big thanks for listening. Please enjoy the blessings of the holiday. And later I will be singing some Mariah Carey songs. Of course, they'll have to be live, because we will, unless they're in the public domain.
We can't afford
it. I think a little town of Bethlehem we can sing.
Yeah, that little thing. Hey, have a good Christmas and a good Christmas week. See you guys.
Merry Christmas to you, Johnny. Happy New Year.
Thanks for listening to Checking In with Hein and Johnny. You can follow all things Hein and Johnny by subscribing to Checking In with Hein and Johnny anywhere you listen to podcasts. Checking In with Hein and Johnny is sponsored by Conveyors and Equipment. They supply, design, and service all types of conveyors, belting, and material handling equipment since 1972. With 3 locations to serve you, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, and El Paso. Find them on the web at conveyequip.com. That's ConveyeEquuip.com.